Hi, my name is Ryan Williams. I'm a recorder player and one of the ELISION musicians who performed as part of the 4-bar sessions. The sessions were an informal free event held monthly within the collegial confines of a pub, Melbourne's Brunswick Green. Composers of any level of skill, experience, or aesthetic viewpoint were welcome to bring along a question, a sonic fragment, or 4 bars of music, which we would discuss and then perform publicly, sight read, on the spot. Everyone involved was engaged and supportive. It was a beautiful way of building audiences and community for new music, whilst encouraging diverse and emerging talents. Currently, the sessions are paused due to the impact and constraints of living with COVID-19. However, we have been able to offer Lilijana Matičevska, one of the regular participants, the opportunity of extending an earlier fragment into a fully fledged composition, which you'll hear at the end of our discussions. I begin this interview by asking Lilijana about the impetus behind this new work for Garkline Recorder with Effects.
One of the things that I really loved when I was exploring some recorded repertoire, especially contemporary recorded repertoire, was the amount of stuff there is for low recorders and how astonishing that whole sound world was. And because I fell in love with low recorders so much, I decided to go completely the other direction and challenge myself a little bit and do something which to me felt counterintuitive, felt like, I don't know the top end of the recorder as much. I haven't heard as much of that. I've heard lots of the low end. I want to do something that I guess opens my ears, opens my mind up a little bit to what can be done at the very, very highest register.
Yeah, cool. And I remember when you brought in that original 4-bar piece of music, there were some really long melismatic lines. I remember there's these huge runs from bottom to top and things like that, which were really really bloody hard on the tiniest instrument, but which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, when you brought in those 4 bars, had you tried it out on the recorder before, or was that something that was you just jotted down as quickly as you could and brought it in? How was the process with the original 4 bars?
The original 4 bars, well, at the time, I hadn't actually sat down and thought about the recorder much at all for a long time. I think I may have taught myself to play a few tunes when I was little, and since then I've been totally out of touch with it. So thinking about the recorder again and the capacity for new music, new sounds, and that can be made on it was really a challenge for me. And I went online, tried to look up a few things, and I guess write down something that I thought, maybe this is possible. I don't know. Let's try and learn something new.
Great. And once I workshopped it with you during that session, was that a helpful experience for you? Were you able to sort of see what that instrument could do, and the potential of the recorder in that session, or?
Yeah, actually, I think from that session, what I found most inspiring was the relationship between performer and instrument. I thought what you were able to do, especially with the little 4 bars of material, was really inspiring, and the way something so, I guess, where I was very unsure of myself, how that could be expanded into a very convincing piece of music. I thought, well, I've got a lot I can learn from this. I've got a lot to learn from this, um, and that in itself, I think, became a really big challenge for me. The whole learning curve was quite steep, but really, I think, very rewarding once I got everything down on paper. The Garkline recorder, because it's so small, so shrill, and so piercing at times, although I do think it can create a really beautiful, sweet sound, um, I think has really inspired me to try and create some sounds that, or try and like write down some sounds that are similarly, um, I don't know, I guess kind of a bit aggressive, kind of a bit like really emotionally charged, not necessarily aggressive, but really emotionally charged, and for me, I think that really comes down to the textural possibilities of what can happen if you actually loop a few different sounds together. What can happen if you add some distortion? What can happen if you create even like some vocalizations on the instrument as well? And those additional layers, for me, I think are all just part of an extension of the performer, the instrument being an extension of the performer, the electronics as well, once again, still really just an extension of the performer and what the performer can do on the instrument. More than anything, I really feel that it's, in terms of this title, it's a very personal response to a specific event. And since that specific event regarding the police and what they represent, the kind of almost issues surrounding police brutality and stuff like that has become more and more widespread in public discourse. And I feel that my feelings towards the title of this piece, my feelings present in the piece as well, through composing it, are still there, and I think still very, very relevant, perhaps now more than ever. Every now and then, whenever there is a particular event that quite profoundly impacts me emotionally or impacts my own experience in the world and lived experience and stuff like that, or impacts how I view the world, then I guess it becomes just part of the inspiration. The things that I think about from day to day become some inspiration to compose. Things aren't necessarily like music doesn't exist in a vacuum for me, even if there's no real direct literal relationship between sound and politics. There is still some kind of personality in the music, I guess, and that personality is still influenced by how I feel about world events, how other people might feel about world events as well.